Hi guys, so today is the 1 year anniversary of my first video, and I'm still not really sure what's going to come of this channel or what I'm going to do with it. It was supposed to be tied into self-advocacy work, but that didn't really go the way I planned. I met through a friend of mine, someone who's done some self-advocacy speaking, and I'd been working with him, but he was very big into neurodiversity and autism as a gift and blah blah blah. So I decided to end the working relationship with him, and self advocacy sort of ended up on the back burner. So we'll see what comes of this channel. But what I can say, and the reason I'm doing this, is that what a huge difference. Whoops, sorry, that's my I'm touching my phone down here. What a huge difference between where I am this time and now, rather, and where I was this time last year. Last year, my schedule was basically sit in the backyard and read books, which is not a horrible activity, but it's not a life. Now my schedule is I have cats, I have babysitting, I was doing physio, I just started mindfulness, I'm going to be going to another support group, I'd like to do a photography course, and the list goes on. And that's incredible. If you told me that a year ago, I would have been thrilled because I was determined to improve, but my self confidence is not great. So I don't know how much I really believed in myself. I kept telling myself I was gonna do it. Fake it till you make it. And I guess I made it so far. So how did I get here and what's different? So last year, probably around August, yeah, excuse me, it would have been August. I came up with sort of two plans. Actually, no, that's not correct. I came up with the three goals last August. The plans came later. The three goals were things to work on to get myself ready to eventually re-enter the workforce. And those three goals were emotional control, pain management, and getting a handle on my fatigue. And I have made huge leaps and bounds in all of those areas. So emotional, and it's all multifaceted. Emotional control, there is medication on board. I'm on an anti-anxiety med and an antidepressant, and my antidepressant was switched when I received my OCD diagnosis. I was switched to one that has anti-obsessive qualities, and my head feels lighter. I feel lighter. Um, I feel like I can do more. If you struggle with these things, maybe you'll get it. Maybe it's unique to me. I don't know. But when my brain isn't racing, all of me feels better. But I've also taken a more sort of proactive approach. When I was diagnosed with the OCD, I went to the library to get some books about OCD, and in that same section were books about cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and also books about mindfulness. Mindfulness for people with anxiety, for people with depression, etc. And I started doing all this reading. I've done some CBT in the past with a psychologist, but I decided to brush up on that anyway. But the mindfulness was amazing to me. I'd heard of it before, but I wrote it off as sort of woo-woo alternative medicine. I have an eclectic mix of beliefs when it comes to things that aren't scientific. I don't know if I've ever gotten into that, but anyway, just know for this, I'm not a fan of alternative medicine. So that's why I had written mindfulness off as. But when I read these books and I saw there was science behind it, I started getting into it. And I don't practice a formal meditation, but I use the tools all the time. And another thing that's been suggested, I have notes here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Another thing that's been suggested by my psychiatrist is something called DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. That's a big question mark whether or not that's going to happen because she told me to do it, and then the organization I spoke to, the CMHA, Canadian Mental Health Association, where I'm doing the mindfulness, they said I don't qualify for DBT because I don't have borderline personality disorder. So next time I see my psychiatrist, I'm going to clarify. And if she thinks I should do it, I will go ahead with it. The more tools I have in my kit, the better. So the second goal was pain management, once again multifaceted. I have two prescription medications. One's a muscle relaxant and one's a pain reliever. Um, and then I also do a little bit of my own exercise, a little bit of cardio, a little bit of strength training. I go to aqua fitness classes when I have time. Saying when I have time just feels ridiculous for me. It's amazing. Um, and then I see a chiropractor, and again, I was weary because I hear some bizarre claims from some chiropractors. But my brother recommended this person, and he's not into alternative stuff either, and she's a miracle worker. I'm seeing her on Tuesday. Hopefully, she can sort out whatever's going on in between my shoulder blades. So all of those things, being active and working on my posture, because I have a lot of tight spots on my body, my hips, my calves, my neck and shoulders are horrible. And a lot of that is because I have low muscle tone and consequently poor posture. It sort of overlaps with the fibromyalgia. So by working on my strength and my posture, I can help with the pain. I'm also wearing prescription shoe orthotics now, so I've taken a lot of steps to get myself as physically able as I can be. The only thing I haven't made progress on in those three goals would be getting a handle on my fatigue. I'm always sleepy. I've had sleep studies, and the doctors just stare at me like you're fine. Recently, someone from Carrie's place suggested something for me, which I'm going to get back to, and I'm hopeful that it'll lead to something because nothing else has led anywhere. I have been told that it could be like a mental thing. I have autism and a whack load of comorbidities, and I could just be exhausted because of how much my brain does on a daily basis. That's been proposed to me, and I'm starting to wonder if that's it, which means that I have to get used to the fatigue, which I think I'm doing actually. I hope that's not the case, but it could be. But I don't have insomnia. Someone recommended a book to me. The book's about insomnia. I fall asleep in 5 minutes and stay asleep for 9 hours. I don't have insomnia. So that's a little frustrating, but I've done very well in my other goals. And then I made a plan back in the spring more. I started thinking about my future more, and I've talked about this in another video. But my plan was at the time, at the time I made the plan, I was doing two things a week, babysitting and the cat shelter. My goal was to add in one more small thing, and then if I could handle three commitments plus whatever appointments and leisure activities, I would know I was ready. In that regard, at least, I was ready to handle going back to work on a part-time basis. I don't need to work full-time because I have my government benefit money, and if I move somewhere cheaper, between the benefit money and a part-time job, I could rent a decent apartment. Not in Toronto, but other places in the province. So right now, I'm not looking at a 9 to 5 job. I'm not looking at a big career. Maybe one day, who knows? Not right now. Right now, some menial entry-level thing would probably be fine. Um, and how am I doing towards that goal? So I'm still doing the cats and the babysitting. And from September to March, or April rather, it was babysitting on Monday evenings, cats on Wednesday afternoons. It got changed to temporarily from May and June. Got changed to babysitting Wednesday, and I moved cats to Friday. Cats is gonna stay on Friday. But the babysitting change was not easy for me, but I did it. And I dealt with the change. I dealt with the new sort of change responsibilities. And that gives me a lot of hope for the future that I handled that change and that I'm handling my schedule overall, being as busy as it is. I'm looking down at notes on my phone. So, in addition to those two things, in March, I started looking to add in a third thing as per my plan. And I interviewed with, the heck is that? Sorry. I interviewed with the Learning Disability Association in my area for a volunteer tutoring position. It would just be 1 hour a week, and I think it would just be at my local library, which is not far from me. So I thought, nice and small, good thing to add in. They kind of fell off the planet for a while after I interviewed with them. It turns out they were moving offices, and I got lost in the shuffle. I actually went up to the head office to speak to them because they weren't answering their emails, and I should have gone sooner, but the head office is not close to me, so I put it off. It looks like I'll be starting that in September. Don't know what day of the week it will be. I'm hoping I can Wednesday or Thursday. We'll figure that out once they actually email me information about my student and I can talk to the family. But it looks like that's going to be happening, so that's exciting. And the thing is, I already kind of know I can do it because I'm already out of the house so many days a week now. Um, I don't know if I mentioned physiotherapy when I was talking about my pain management. But back in January, I did physio last year for my shoulders. And the way it works, because I'm on the government benefit, I can get ODSP. I can get physio covered by the government. The insurance in our province is OHIP for short, OHIP for short. And they covered me for physio. They give you an assessment, 5 treatments, and a reassessment. And I did that last year with my shoulders. And I got a new referral in this past January for my knee. I have a ganglion cyst. I think that's in my right knee. I think that's my only diagnosis. That's not comorbid with my autism. As far as I'm concerned, even the GI stuff is comorbid. But anyway, um, I got the referral, but I didn't get an appointment until late June because government. If you're American, don't listen. I don't want to turn you off universal health care because there are way more benefits than downsides. But anyway, it took me that long to get an appointment. I went in for my assessment. They gave me exercises, and I went home and did my exercises, and I was in excruciating pain. And my leg had been fine for months. They had drained some fluid off it, and it was doing well. So I went back. I'm like, I can't do these knee exercises. So we ended up using the appointments. I still went through with the treatments and reassessment. We ended up working on core strength. Because I have lower back pain, and I would love a personal trainer, but I can't afford one. So using the physio people to teach me some core exercises was like a free personal training, except they only did one area. I would like to see the government cover more exercise and diet stuff. To me, it seems like it would be cheaper to do that instead of paying for gastric bypass when I gain 700 pounds. Okay, that's ridiculous, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why they don't put more money into preventative stuff, but anyway. So that was another thing. But where was I going with this? Right. So I was doing physio for a few weeks there, every Tuesday and Thursday, on top of, cats. And babysitting's been sporadic over the summer. Right now she's in camp. But I was doing it. I was out of the house that many days a week, and I was doing it, and that's very, very helpful. Um, So I almost don't need the tutoring now. I'm still gonna do it. It'll be good on a resume, and I still want to do it. But I've already proved to myself that I can be out many days a week without getting exhausted, having a meltdown. Um, Although part of the key to that is nothing that I'm doing is have a lot of responsibility. That's why I said before, like a menial labor entry level job. Because when I did work in my field in a daycare, and I had to do observations and report things to parents and program activities. Nothing untoward went on, yet I still got so stressed that it ended in a major depressive episode. So right now, I'm finding just how busy I can be, and I'm figuring out just how much I can handle before I get there. And I seem to have found it. I'm very hopeful that a low stress job will be successful in the not too distant future. As long as I don't hate my coworkers, don't hate the job, I think it'll be great. So what else am I doing in this crazy schedule of mine? So the physio is finished, and I just started mindfulness. And I mentioned before the mindfulness I'm doing. It's 8 weeks every Wednesday. I was there last Wednesday. I've been to one session so far. And then when that's finished, I'm going to be starting a group at Carrie's Place Autism Services. And I'm going to refer back to Carrie's Place in a second, so remember that name. I'm going to be going to a group. Um, basically a support group, and I'm going to get to meet other adults on the high end of the spectrum. And it's 6 weeks every Tuesday. I think it's called the consultation group or something. So I'm excited about that. And I mentioned the DBT before. That's way a big question mark, but I might do that. And I'd also like to do, and I can't believe I'm even considering all these things, not having anxiety about it, but here I am. I bought a DSLR camera earlier this year, and I found a community center in my town that offers courses, and it's just 3 sessions, 3 classes. So I'd like to squeeze that in somewhere when they release their next set of start dates. I I'm not even anxious listing this. Oh my god. Excuse me. So, that's probably it for all the things on my plate. I can't think of anything else I'm missing there. Yeah. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to explain to you is Carrie's Place. I mentioned I'm doing the support group at Carrie's Place. So Carrie's Place Autism Services is one of the few autism services that I can access because the government of Ontario decided to stick all these different programs under this one entry point called Developmental Services Ontario. But I don't qualify for Developmental Services Ontario. A lot more is available to children on the spectrum. Once you're an adult, if you're higher functioning, you basically lose services. And Carrie's Place, though, is privately run through donations, and you do pay a small fee for services. And through them, I got to meet I believe it's called a community consultant. I've met with them before as one-offs, but this time they put me on a list for it's called short-term consultation, so you get 6 weeks to meet with the person as much as you'd like. Although my lady's gone on vacation in the middle of my 6 weeks, which kind of gives me more time to work actually. I get, excuse me, like extra 3 weeks. So what I did with her, because I had some amazing things came out with her. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I threw so many different things at her, and she was so amazing. There was not much she could do about. I asked if she had any brilliant ideas about my sleepiness all the time, and she was actually the one that recommended the Useless Insomnia book. And she couldn't do much about housing either. I've probably talked about before the lack of housing for people with autism and mental illness, and how long the wait lists are for subsidized in Toronto area, and she can't do anything about that either, unfortunately. But she had lots of great ideas. She sent me a ton of links to employment programs and self-advocacy groups. I kind of haven't gone through those emails yet. I should look and see what I like, although I'm not quite ready to go back to work. Um, I figured I'd ask her for resources while I had her. And I know a lot of them, for some reason, have a cutoff of age 29, or they only work with you in the short term, and I need longer term support, so I still have to figure that out. But that's a little bit down the road, probably anyway. Um, I asked her about driving lessons for people with special needs, because I hate the bus company in my area. I actually plan to complain to the Ontario Ombudsman, who oversees public sector stuff, about how bad the service is in my subdivision. And I also plan to complain to. There's a person, I don't know his title, who's currently reviewing the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. And I plan to send some complaints to him. Because when my fibromyalgia pain is bad, when my knee is bad, I can't even get to the bus stop. Because how badly I'm like a transit dead zone in this subdivision, even though I'm pretty close to a main road. I'd have to pull up maps and explain the area to you, but trust me, it's bad. So I've asked her about special needs driving lessons, and she told me to contact a place, get a quote, and she could secure funding. And I was excited because that place before, when I contacted them on my own, it was way too expensive. I haven't heard back from them, unfortunately, but I'm fingers crossed. The most amazing suggestion she had, though, was around food. I need to improve my diet. I'm overweight. I have IBS. I have GERD, gastro reflux. I need to improve my diet. And a lot of what's stopping me is sensory issues. And I didn't even know that there was anything that could be done about that. And she said, yeah, occupational therapists can work with you on your sensory issues. So she got in touch with a government agency, and I had actually this was yet another thing I tried on my own to ask for a dietitian, and they said no and shut me down. But she said, we're going to try again. We're going to say you need an OT and a dietitian together. And we fought with them for a number of weeks. We got about 3 different answers out of them because it's the government. But I have an assessment next week. And I'm very, very hopeful that I can learn to eat more variety, and I can be wiser with calories. I need to learn to eat foods that are filling, that don't have a million calories. So I'm very hopeful that I will start losing some weight. I have tried to make weight loss a goal, and so far it's gone nowhere. I met with a Jenny Craig consultant, and the price of food, as they say quickly in the commercials, is like $700 a month, so that wasn't happening. I tried counting calories. That lasted about a day and a half, and I was chewing the drywall. But I've proven to myself over this last year that I can do things if I want to. So I will lose weight. It's not an if, it's a when. I will lose weight, and I can't wait to see where I am next year. This just everything I've just said is incredible to me, and thank you to those who've been subscribed since the beginning. And let's see what the next year holds. Thank you.